When's the last time you saw someone on social media post and tag themselves in TGI Fridays shouting about the experience they just had? Well, I don't think I've seen that. Maybe some of you have, but I certainly haven't seen that. Why? Because the experience ain't that big anymore, and it certainly isn't what it used to be. So TGI Fridays, a place that I went to as a kid, and I'm sure some of you watching would have been there as a kid as well. And that is where lies part of the problem. I can't remember the last time I went back and actually had that experience. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how does $1 billion famous brand like TGI Fridays fail, get to the point where it goes into administration, has to close 35 of its sites and lose over 1,000 staff. What are the reasons behind this? Now, there's the public reasons, and sometimes when these reasons come out to market, you read it in the news and they say it was this and it was that. But there's something that's underlying that I feel can help small business owners like yourselves that are watching today to make sure that your business does not fall foul of some of the mistakes of TGI Fridays. So we're going to look at that in this video, whether you're listening or watching, and we're going to examine what were the issues, what happened, and how can your business learn some lessons. So TGI Fridays, a business started in 1965 in New York City, came to England in 1986 with the first restaurant opening in Birmingham. Somewhere that I went with my family during the 90s. It was somewhere that we always went for birthdays, and I'm sure many of you watching would have experienced the same thing. So what's happened? Because when you read the news and you look at the responses, a lot of people were saying, well, you know what, they just charge too much for a burger and fries. And it seems to be that people are focused on the pricing. Now, I don't think that's actually the problem, because if you dig a bit deeper under the hood, you can see that Five Guys, Byron Burger and other chains are actually charging similar money, but they're surviving, they're thriving, where TGI Fridays has failed. So if it isn't pricing, what is it? Now, this is something that entrepreneurs, business owners constantly have to deal with. And my first lesson that I want for this video, which is really relevant here, is it doesn't matter what it costs, it matters what the value delivered is. So you always have to look at your business, and what you're delivering is the value somebody's getting from what they're actually paying. And people will not worry about cost, they will worry about value. In fact, in the scale equation, value always outweighs cost. So what does this mean? Give you a quick example. Can you go into Primark right now and buy a big bag, a handbag that you can get for £10-15? Well, the answer is yes. It will hold loads of stuff, and you'll value that at a certain amount. Now, you use that handbag every day, but when you go home with that handbag, typically it gets thrown on the side. It's not valued intrinsically at very high because you can actually pay a lot of money for it. Now, if we look at the other side of it, can you go into Chanel and buy a dinky little handbag for £10,000 that doesn't hold as much, that's tiny? Yes, the answer is yes. And you certainly ain't throwing that on the side when you get home. You're treating that with more value. So value that you receive always outweighs the cost. Where's the value in the Chanel bag? The value in the Chanel bag is the fact that you've got brand, you've got experience. And this is something that TGI Fridays used to have, but has come to escape them. You used to go there for the experience. Now, people don't go there for the experience. Instead, people are choosing a different style. When you look at Five Guys, you look at Byron Burgers, you look at GBK, people are valuing now convenience in this sector often more than value. So understand that value outweighs cost. Now, what becomes really important is, what are people valuing right now in the market? In this particular market, what are they valuing? Well, if you see the companies that are thriving, and obviously we know that TGI Fridays has struggled, people right now in these markets are valuing convenience. So convenience has become something that's very, very big in this market. GBK, Byron Burger, it's a casual setting, casual dining. That's where it's gone. Where many people look at TGI Fridays and you used to go there for a birthday, you used to go there for an experience. You don't go there for a casual dining experience. And that's where it's lost a lot of its market share, because it's not learned the lesson of the marketplace. The marketplace will tell you what it wants. And in this instance, it wants convenience. So it's lost some business there. It's lost some market share there. And if people are now valuing convenience, TGI Fridays should have done one or two things. So first of all, number one, what could they have done? They could have shifted their focus, they could have shifted their brand and their restaurants to deliver more of a casual dining experience, and they could have competed in that market. And you could say, well, would they have done well? Would they have not done well? One of the reasons that they would have done well is because they had the brand. You know, TGI Fridays, as we know, has been around, you know, in the UK since 1986. You know, your GBK and your Bar and Burger and these other areas, they've not been around that long. So they had to start and build their brand fresh. It's just that TGI Fridays didn't innovate. It stayed the same. And when you stay the same and the world moves, you get left behind. And I think that was one really big thing. Now, alternatively, what they could have done, if they didn't want to go convenient, they said, this is what we are. We're an experience. We are an experiential dining experience. They should have lent more into that market. And they should have delivered more experience. Because the bottom line is, I went there when I was a kid, back in the 90s, as I'm sure some of you did, and used to go there, and they used to have everyone come out, and they would sing songs, and they'd be clapping, and you got the people with all the badges on, and there was an experience to that, and you went there for your birthdays, and it was really, really cool. What's the problem? Well, lots of other people copied that experience again and again and again. And by copying that experience, it just left it where all of a sudden it wasn't very wow anymore. So the next lesson is, you got to keep focus on how do I improve my wow. Had TGI Friday said, we're not going for convenience, we're going for experience. Well, if you're going for experience, your wow TGI Fridays is over. It's stopped. That isn't a wow thing anymore. You can go into a lot of restaurants. In a lot of Turkish restaurants now, they do the happy birthday, clapping, bringing the cake out. In a lot of different restaurants they do. They've copied that model. So what could they have done? Well, they could have said, look, we're known for experience. We're known for birthdays. We're known for wow. This is what it's all about. People don't come here for a casual dining experience. They come here for a wow moment. Well, let's wow them then. So what could they have done? Well, they could have lent into table dancing, could have got people dancing on the tables. They could have got fire breathers coming in when it was somebody's birthday. They could have had mini fireworks, whatever. They could have worked on a huge experience so somebody feels like we've upped the game in the celebration. A little bit of focus on that would have retained that core market and had people keep coming back for their experience. Unfortunately, and this is the big thing, they failed to innovate. You're either growing in business or you're dying, and if you're not innovating, you're dying. And that essentially is what's happened to TGI Fridays. It's got stale, it's got old, other people have come into the market. Unfortunately, one thing you'll learn about people is they like something new, they like something shiny. And if they like something new and something shiny, and they've been having the same old thing year in, year out, forever, then they're going to want some change, especially when you've got new players coming into the market. So you've always got to look at, in your business, because this at the end of the day, yeah, we want to learn these lessons for your business. Keep innovating. Look at your experience. How can I make it better? How can I make it better received? How can I get in this new world people talking about this experience? Let me ask you this question. When's the last time you saw someone on social media post and tag themselves in TGI Fridays shouting about the experience they just had? Well, I don't think I've seen that. Maybe some of you have. Well, I certainly haven't seen that. Why? Because the experience ain't that big anymore, and it certainly isn't what it used to be. Now, another reason that TGI Fridays has essentially failed is that despite all of the things that we talked about going on, the increased competition, the failure to innovate, the experience lacking, they got a little bit rose-tinted glasses on and kept expanding, when they really should have focused in on those core restaurants, on their core model, made it better before they overexpanded. And this is a big lesson that business owners can really learn from. You want to, before you expand and before you scale, you want to make sure that your core model delivers excellence. You're absolutely packed to the brim, full of people. They should have said, well, look, all of our restaurants are buzzing. The social media's on fire. The experience is getting better. We keep turning people away. We can't fit people in our restaurants. It's like, okay, let's open some more. But instead, they got the rose-tinted glasses on, the shareholders got the greed in their eyes, and they said, well, let's just keep rolling them out. We're making a bit of profit. And then what ends up happening? You end up having all these restaurants. You've got all of them, and you've got these ones that are good, and you're opening this one and this one and this one. You're putting your capital and your resources into these different things, and all of a sudden, you've got these successful ones, and it just sucks the profitability out of the successful to pay the ones that are not successful. And that's what causes the house of cards to come falling down. So what can you learn as a business owner? Let's go over those lessons. First of all, remember, value outweighs cost. Don't get too hooked on your pricing. TGI Fridays could have made their experience better and charge more and still be more successful and not had this happen to them. Number one. So don't worry about your pricing, worry about your value. Number two, remember to innovate. Keep innovating in your business, because if you don't, your competitors will, and you'll go out of business. You're either growing or you're dying. Make sure you keep growing. Understand that people value convenience. Convenience is very, very important. And if you are going to compete in that market, make it convenient. If not, give an experience. Make sure that your product, your service becomes more experiential. And if it becomes more experiential, people are going to give more time to it. If not, give them your product or service and give it to them fast. Finally, when you expand your business, make sure you're expanding from a place of power. You've got the capital, you've got the reserves, you're in the right place to expand your business, but also you've got enough demand there to expand. If people don't want badly what you've already got, then now's not the time to expand. Now is the time to work on your existing business, innovate and make it better. Hopefully you've enjoyed some lessons there on how you as a business owner can learn from the rise, the fall of TGI Fridays, and ensure that in the future you apply some really cool business lessons to making sure that your business grows. Now, hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you have, go and share it with somebody that needs to raise their business acumen, get some better business growth secrets, and tell me in the comments what your perception was. You know, what do you think? What were your experiences in TGI Fridays? How did that affect you? Are you pleased? Are you disappointed? Are you gutted? Love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you in person very, very soon.